How's it going, everyone? I'm Isle, and this is some more StarCraft 2. Today, it is a battle of the North Americans. Two very good North Americans, by the way. So up first, our Zerg player from Canada, we have Scarlett. And our Protoss player on the other side of the map is from USA, we have Astrea. So, Astrea versus Scarlett. This could be very good. Now, I was watching, Jesus, this was a while ago. I was watching Scarlett's stream. And, okay, gonna be blocked. Drone's gonna go to the third base. And on her stream, she mentioned that she actually plays against Astrea a lot. And they get to know each other just when they're doing their normal practice ladders during streams or whatever the case may be. So they actually play against each other a huge amount. And I think if I remember correctly, Scarlett wins a lot of them, the majority of them. But it's kind of split. You know, they're a good competition against each other. So it's going to be interesting what they do on this stage, which was Dreamhack Atlanta. And yeah, I like both of these players. I think Astrea has really kind of cemented himself as a very solid and strong Protoss player. You know, he's done a lot. He's been competing in GSLs. He's been doing fine in tournaments. I think he's just shown that he's really up there with one of the best North American Protoss players in the world. And that's great. Scarlett, we've known. Scarlett's been around. She's always been good. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what these two can do against each other. So, just as an update on StarCraft, if you haven't been keeping up with the StarCraft scene too much, there is a balance patch that is on the PTR. I actually made a video that reviews all of those changes. And I must be honest, it's looking like some exciting stuff. There are a couple of very important changes, Stargate coming up by the way, that are going to change up the meta quite a lot. Now, this is such a monumental thing because back when StarCraft was still actively being worked on, we used to get balance patches regularly. We'd get the yearly one at least, which was a big update. And over time, that just kind of slowed down and you know, the updates started becoming less and less. The game became a little bit stale. We stopped seeing maps rotating as often. But it seems like now things are maybe starting to happen again. And that's great for any StarCraft fans because, you know, all of that stuff keeps the game fresh. So we're going to see a big change. We're going to see how that change actually affects the different matchups. I think for the most part, and I think that's really nice about the change, is it's amazing for people that are just laddering, you know, they're not the pros. Because normally, StarCraft is balanced around the professional scene to make it as balanced as possible for the people at the top. But oftentimes that actually quite severely affects, you know, the average person that's playing the game just on the ladder. And for this patch, it seems like they've really they've focused on making it more accessible, I almost want to say, for your average player, which is amazing. So a couple of changes that are going to happen in this matchup is a lot of changes to Zerg units. So Hydras could become a unit that we start seeing a lot more in ZVPs. Broodlords have also been changed up. I mean, Broodlords, they do tend to come out here and there. But I think one of the big ones is the carrier change. The carrier change is going to really change up the way that late game Protoss is going to be working. And I think that's good because in the professional scene, yes, Zerg players can, for the most part, destroy the Skytoss army. But on the ladder, it is so hard to deal with. I mean, I have gone up at times when I haven't played Protoss for a while, and I'll build Skytoss units and I'll just win. And it's like, meh, whatever. So that'll be very good. Also with the upgrade changes in the Ford, I think it's going to encourage a lot more ground-based Protoss armies, which is, yeah, I think it's good. Anyway, onto this game. Couple of worker kills here for Astrea. 5 by those 2 adepts. The Zerglings are going to try and knock down this wall. They actually get the Adept. Okay, there's a full wall completion here. Yeah, with the Zealot. Okay. In terms of the tech of the players, we have the Robo and the Twilight up, as well as the Forge for Astrea. Scarlett has gone into the Roach Warren. I don't think she's got any upgrades yet. Nope. She is getting Overlord speed at the moment. Astrea's Oracles at this point, just trying to keep tabs on everything, moving around. Yeah, so we're just seeing the two players macro up. Third base up for both players. We see some Dropper Lords. Where are they going to drop and what are they going to drop? Oh, it's Dropper Lords, right? Yeah. Okay, so what do we have in here? We have a couple of Queens. Scarlett's going for the Queen drop again. The last video I did was a similar thing with Scarlett going for all sorts of Queenie things. So yeah, Scarlett really likes this. She likes bringing the Queens up into the fight. And this is going to be an aggressive push. There's a couple of Ravagers on the way as well. Stalker's trying to slow this down. Queen's being dropped to get rid of them. I like this. Now Scarlett's been doing some interesting things. So she does this. She brings the Overlords. She drops some creep with the Overlords. Puts some creep trimmers, which means she can then transfuse again. And then it's a big push. At this stage, Astrea, what does he have? He's got a couple of Stalkers. All the Queens that have been dropped, they are on the creep. They're able to, well, I mean, the Ravagers are pushing them a little bit ahead, but they should be able to get something done. Battery overcharge on this side being used. Okay, the Ravagers will get rid of that, and Astrea is trying to take cover behind his third. He's got another shield battery. This does seem that it's going to be a pretty strong push, though. I don't know if Astrea has got enough. The Ravagers are, they're not going down. The Overlords are moving forward. They're getting ready to do some more creep, which means the Queens are going to be able to transfuse. GG is called. Scarlett not able to break through. Yeah, Astrea defends it quite successfully. Alrighty, so slightly anticlimactic finish in that one. But Scarlett realizing that she just doesn't have enough to break through. And with a couple of warp-in rounds, which Astrea would have had soon enough, he would have just overwhelmed her. So, nice attempt on the push with the Queens. But yeah, Astrea, he did a good job. I think it was really all up to his positioning. He moved everything in the right position. He took cover behind his third, moved to his shield batteries, and it was just not enough. So yeah, I mean, that was the last round of change that we saw, was the Queens getting nerfed like that. Those pushes used to be very strong with Queens into a Protoss' third base where, ooh, the Zerg, oh no, oh, it does go up. But yeah, the Queens used to push in with the Roach Ravager army, and it used to be very strong. It used to be one of the best ways for Zerg to deal with a Protoss with a good sharp timing attack. Now, not so much, just because those transfuses are not as strong. And in that game, Scarlett was trying to get the creep down, but the Ravagers pushing the Queens around and off of the creep meant that she couldn't be transfusing. Just became a bit of a tricky situation. At this stage, we see once again relatively standard openers. Nexus here. Yeah. Gonna go into the Cyber Core. And then we'll see the tech choice that Astrea goes from there. Yeah, it's quite amazing. It's quite amazing if you think about all the changes that StarCraft has gone through. Because I was thinking about it the other day. About the balance patches and stuff. And I know we don't have a Terran in the match, but I want to quickly talk about it. Some of you may remember, if you've been playing or watching StarCraft a long time, you may remember the period of tank evacs. That was horrendous. So, to give you a little bit of an update on that, what you used to be able to do is you used to be able to siege up your tanks and then pick them up with medevacs while they were still sieged. And then you drop them and they'd automatically be sieged when you drop them. So there used to be just this, oh, it was just medevacs flying around with tanks on them, and things became very chaotic. You could do some ugly harassment with tanks, and TVT was an absolute mess during that time. So yeah, you know, we've seen a couple of interesting things happen. I mean, there's a couple of units like the Herc as well that just never got into the game, or you know, they were taken out in one of the earlier beta stage or one of the earlier patches. And I think Legacy of the Void has also seen a lot of changes. You know, there was a point where adepts were relatively broken, and you know, everyone just made adepts and killed you with adepts. But it's good to see. It's good to see because it keeps everything changing. You know, the game, after 12 years, there's still a lot of things being figured out. And I think this is kind of the beauty of this RTS that was created. We're going to see a Glaives build, by the way. Talking about adepts. So, Aroba's on the way with Glaives, Resonating Glaives, which means those adepts are going to be able to attack quicker. So, Astrea is going to want to put on a lot of pressure with those adepts. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's the same for StarCraft Brood War as well. That game is also often getting a couple of changes. Not quite as drastic as StarCraft 2, because obviously the support there is less than we get at StarCraft 2. I think they recently only had new maps, and it was after like a whole huge amount of years. So at least we do that. At least we every now and then get maps. So we're going to see Scarlet's counter is going to be the Roach Warrior. And we're immediately going into Robotics Bay. So Astrea's not planning on hanging around on the Adept army for too long. I wonder what he's going to be planning on building out there. Is he going to go for Colossus, or is he going to go for Disruptor straight away? Okay. Maybe he does something strange like Warp Prism Speed. Ooh, that could be fun. Okay, so the warp-in is happening here, and now we're going to see the tricky battle of trying to know where the adepts are going. So the adepts are going to shade one way, attack in another. You have to follow those shades, otherwise, yep. So this is quite tricky to keep track of. The Queen's luckily doing their job here, but another warp-in round's going to happen. Scarlet's desperately trying to get some Zerglings and Roaches out. The Roaches are out now. The adepts are moving across, and this is where it becomes tricky to defend. They do shade. Luckily, some of the Roaches are in a good position. They're going to try shade out again. Scarlet's seeming like she's going to be able to hold this quite well. The shade does move over to this side, and as you can see, the Zerg army is out of position. This used to be such a strong strategy, especially when adepts were quite new. But I think at this stage, it's only 3 workers down, and I think Scarlet is okay. Okay, so we are seeing disruptors. Yeah, three workers. With the Roaches out, that should help a lot. This should be a cancel. I don't think he's going to carry on with that. Yeah. Ah, 2 of them. 2 of them finish, just to carry on doing some worker damage. And they do end up getting 2 workers. That's not too bad. The Roaches are going to clean up, though. At the same time, Zergling's trying to put some pressure on the other side. They just get rid of a Stalker, not too much else. Overlord gonna fly in, have a look at what is going on. Warp Prism still trying to be very annoying. And then we see a Baneling. Hang on. Double Baneling nest? I don't think that's intentional. Some more worker kills going down here to the adepts. The adepts. Adepts. I said that one very strange. Now 5 workers going down. Why is there double Baneling nest? There's absolutely no reason to get double Baneling nest, so that is a little bit of a minor mistake from Scarlet. Yeah, that's not ideal. We are going to see double Disruptor drop. Disruptors, they can hit hard. The Disruptors, by the way, are also getting a big change. Their Purifier Orb radius is being decreased. Ooh, let's see. Let's see if he gets a good hit here. Okay, decent. 7, that's a good hit. Oh, you're gonna pick them up and leave. Okay. Yeah, Astrea dealing some good damage here. That is 15 workers so far and taking no worker damage in return. At this stage, Scarlet's just trying to macro up, trying to get herself up to the worker count that she wants. But at this stage, Astrea is in the lead. Astrea has more workers than Scarlet, which is not where you want to be as a Zerg player. Baneling speed coming up. Ah, it was a mistake. The other one got cancelled, thankfully. Yeah, Baneling's going to be good against Zealots. Good against Adepts as well. Decent against Stalkers. Does feel sometimes to be a pretty expensive exchange. You've got to make sure that you don't roll Banelings into things like Archons. Roaches are going to move across to the other side of the map. At the same time, got to keep our eye on this Disruptor. And here it goes. Okay, 6 more workers going down, but I think there was an Adept on the other side at the same time. This is a big push that's going to be happening on the other side of the map though. Scarlett is sending in a lot. She has a couple of Disruptors trying to get good hits in. They're not really getting the connections they need. And here's a strong Zerg push onto the third base. Gets rid of the shield battery. Disruptors found in an odd position. Scarlett splitting her army a little bit. Astrea having to split the defense. These 2 Disruptors are going to be dropped, and not too bad hits, but this is a lot of workers going down now. 18 workers so far. Okay, a couple of good hits coming down here. This army is also in a lot of trouble. I think Scarlett has definitely repaid the damage done to her in this engagement. This was a very good engagement, while Astrea had 2 of his Disruptors on the other side of the map. Zergling's going to get rid of another Disruptor. Now that's a lot of worker damage done, and knocking Astrea back onto 2 bases. Scarlett happy with the damage, and at this stage she decides to turn around, go back, while her 4th base is on the way. That was a very good engagement. I think Scarlett can be pretty happy with the damage that she did there. So yeah, if you look at the supply now, it's 117 to 87. Astrea knocked back really hard there. The army supply for Astrea is really low. The worker supply is really low. Still going to try get some damage done with this War Prism and these 2 Disruptors. Defenses seem to be in place. Okay, gonna try get rid of some of the army. Ooh. Okay, Zerglings. Doing a little bit of a skippy to get out of the way. I always hold my breath without even realizing it. I hold my breath when Disruptors are on the field. Because it's like, are they gonna hit? Okay, when behind Dark Shrine. Astrea going for Dark Shrine. Oh, it's alright. Hang on. Scarlett, what's going on? She's building 2 infestation pits. I think she's just moving so quickly, it's like doesn't even realize what's happening. Bam, bam. Yeah, 2 infestation pits, obviously not ideal. Unless there's a plan for this one. Who knows? Chances are we'll see one of them being cancelled before the end. And Zerglings, Banelings on the way. Gonna be a little bit of a push here. This is not much of an army though. I mean, the Disruptors are good, they can get something done, but... Ooh, nice little Baneling, Zergling force being set up here. Astrea seems like he's just gonna go home. Let's see what Scarlett does with these Banes. If she can get another good worker hit, I mean, that'll be insane. And they're rolling. They're gonna roll to the 3rd. There are some defenses in place and a couple of Zealots in a good position. Stalkers blinking in, and yeah, the Banelings get nothing done. I mean, I got rid of a couple of units, but I wouldn't be too happy with that one. It's just average damage. No worker damage though. Okay, we see DTs. I don't know where they are. There they are. The DTs moving out. Gonna go try to harass some mineral lines. Hive on the way. It feels like it's a bit of a late hive, but anyway. Obviously the resources and everything very much dictate when those structures get upgraded. Okay, so 2 are gonna go. Well, I think all 3 are gonna be split up. This could be some nice damage. There's no... Yeah. They start going down. DTs shred through workers so quickly. Yeah. There's no detection here. Where's the detection? That's 15 workers going down to a couple of DTs. Okay, so there we see an Overseer. At the same time, Astrea is going to be pushing into the 4th base. This is a nice back and forth here. A couple of hero DTs helping to pull Astrea back into this. I mean, that being said, Scarlett's still on 84 workers. A couple of decent Disruptor hits. Ooh. This Dark Templar still having a grand old time. But yeah, Scarlett is still, she's still comfortable with her workers. So obviously you don't want that top damage to go down, but she's still okay. Ooh, Baneling's into an Archon. Ouch. 21 workers going down. That's probably still the DTs. Okay, Disruptor does get picked off. We do see some Vipers on the way. Vipers obviously a very good counter to those Disruptors. If a Viper abducts a Disruptor while it is launching its Purifier Orb, then it gets cancelled. The ability gets cancelled, which is obviously very good. Zerglings and a couple of Ravagers. Oh, there goes the Warp Prism, so that should put an end to this attack. I think Scarlett has defended successfully now. Astrea's still going to try to do a little bit. He still has 2 Disruptors. And the Zerg army is relatively small. You see a whole bunch more roaches on the way. This base does end up falling. That's going to be a good little boost for Astrea. And another Dark Templar in here. Yeah, a couple of Zerglings against the DT. Ooh, that's not what you want. You don't really want drones fighting DTs. But Scarlett does eventually get rid of it. There are more workers falling. No. Alright. But yeah, that's a lot of worker losses. 55 drones to 22 probes. I mean, yeah, now Scarlett's on 69. Nice, but not nice. She is getting adrenal glands as well as +3 melee and +2 ranged attacks. At this stage, Astrea's composition looks more like he's playing a Protoss versus Protoss than a Zerg versus Protoss. Stalker Disruptor. I would like to say that a couple of Zealots and some Archons wouldn't be bad. He's getting a couple of Archons now. But I definitely think a couple of Zealots would do well just to help clear out Zerglings and things like that. Is there more DTs? I heard slashing. Here it is. Oh, that's more workers going down to a couple of Dark Templar. Astrea has gotten so much value out of his Dark Templar in this game. It's actually unbelievable. Now the Zerg army is going to go pushing in. Astrea and Scarlett's economies. Now Astrea's economy is in the lead again. This is a very back and forth game. Yeah, the economies are not looking too bad. Huge round of drones are completed now, so even on worker count, Scarlett a little bit ahead in terms of the army. She's going up to a Spire, looking to go into what I assume would be Broodlords. And no transition in sight yet for Astrea. He seems to be quite content to sit on the Stalker Disruptor with Archon support. I mean, that's a good unit comp. Can get a lot of damage done with that. Couple of Banelings going in. They're going to be blocked by Stalkers and a good warp in, and I don't think they're going to hit their targets. There are more Zerglings, so there we go. Queens aggressively jumped on. A couple of abducts on the Disruptors. Oh, that gets rid of 2 of them. Abduct, by the way, is also being changed, the Vipers. So they're not going to be, or they abduct, and then while it's casting, they're actually not going to be able to move or do anything else, which is a bit of a nerf to them. That, I think, is definitely going to affect the pros a lot more than your average, because Vipers are pretty strong. Oh, nice back and forth here. Big Zergling, Baneling here on the right side. Gonna see if any damage can be done. There are some Stalkers here ready to defend. Scarlett's only getting her armor upgrades now. That's interesting. So she was going straight for 3-3. Well, 3-2 at this point. Astrea has +3 weapons. Hey, that's one way to get rid of an Archon. And whatever that is, that's an Archon busy warping in, or morphing in, or whatever you call it. Ooh, don't like this engagement. At the same time, the Zergling Banelings are trying to move in here, get some damage done. The SimCity here for Astrea is pretty decent. And look at that probe split. Some worker damage going down, but Astrea's pushing into this top left corner base. And I think this base is in a lot of trouble. So Scarlett's getting rid of one of Astrea's bases. Astrea getting rid of one of Scarlett's bases. A lot of workers being traded out for a lot of workers. Astrea at this point has lost more. Great Aspire on the way. I think as soon as those Broodlords come out, the game could change quite drastically. Broodlord's a very strong unit against a predominantly ground army. Well, I mean, this is only a ground army for the Protoss. Charge is only being researched now at the 18-minute mark. Wow. Yeah, 6 Corruptors queued up. Base acquired here on the right side of the map. At this stage, Astrea is going towards the left side of the map. Ah, this has gotten a little bit of a scrappy game here. Storm on the way, so just a extra form of splash damage. Obviously in StarCraft 2, splash damage is very, very useful. Especially against Zerg. I mean, I think Protoss requires splash damage. Not only against Zerg, but against Terran as well. Yeah. So, very interesting game. There are the Broodlords. Scarlett does enjoy using her Broodlords. And Broodlords in conjunction with Vipers and the Roach Ravager army. This is becoming a very scary army. At this stage, it's still very Stalker heavy. And yes, Stalkers can blink onto the Broodlords. But with good positioning, Scarlett should be able to avoid that. War Prism is moving across on this side. See what's being warped in there. Yeah. Okay. Scarlett is positioning herself in the right place. What's happening here? The War Prism's doing a dance and being attacked by Corruptors. Yeah. It's not really what you want. Roach is going to take out the Zealot run-bys. Astrea's main army is moving here on the right. I love that. The High Templar being hidden just behind the pillar, waiting for some of these units to come in before unleashing their storms. Oh. Okay, Broodlords, here they are. That's going to chase away the army. Okay, this is going to be a decent engagement here. A couple of storms go down on the Zerglings, on everything. Astrea just blanketing the battlefield with storms. The Broodlords are trying to pick up the reinforcements. Got to be careful of the warp in. Scarlett immediately turns around to defend her Broodlords. Those units are expensive. They need to be looked after. Huge amount of Zerglings on the way. Couple more Broodlords, and now Scarlett is pushing forward. This stage is 180 supply to 121, 119. Astrea looking like he is in some serious trouble. The Broodlords moving forward. Blink aggressively onto the Broodlords. I think this may be the beginning of the end, as the Broodlords are going to get rid of this base. The rest of the army comes in. The Zerg army comes in, and it is doing, yeah, damage. Astrea's got no more army left. He's got not too much left. This base is going to go down. There's not too many Broodlords left, but there's a lot of Ravagers, a lot of Roaches. A couple more Broodlords on the way. 8 workers going down. But that being said, there's another army moving on this side, and this is big. Scarlett's getting rid of all the bases. Astrea calls GG. Scarlett takes game number 2. Our final map on match point is going to be Data C. Very good game, that previous one. Very close. The two trading blows quite nicely. We're going to see what happens in this one and who actually takes this series. Seems to be normal standard openers once again. But yeah, that one was interesting. I think Astrea got himself a little bit caught up on the unit comp, and the transition to High Templar was great. But a lot of workers lost for both players. Scarlett kept replenishing her economy. I think Astrea felt that he couldn't anymore, so he was just trying to be a little bit aggressive. Very nice game there between these two. It's been a good series so far. Very exciting, seeing a couple of different strategies and a bunch of different ways to play the game. So we'll have to see what they do on this one. Data C is a more macro-oriented map. We do see a lot of longer games on this one. And yeah, I don't think we'll see, well, we're definitely not seeing anything too cheesy, but we'll see if either of these players tends to go for a solid timing or anything. I hope you can't hear that, by the way. I think my washing machine is on. I put it on, not thinking that I'm going to start recording. So if you hear an odd sound, much apologies. It is my washing machine making a heck of a lot of noise. You might not hear it, and if you don't, that's awesome. Okay, probe gonna go across, cybercore on the way. Yeah, everything very standard. We'll see where these two players are gonna take this final game. I've been having a good one. I've been enjoying the games from this tournament so far. I think the ones that I've casted, I think, have been really good. There's not been too many boring. I mean, yeah, I guess not everyone will agree with me. I do tend to enjoy watching StarCraft, and I enjoy watching some of the mirror matchups. So yeah, I know that a lot of people really don't like watching mirror matchups, but I think I just enjoy it. It's probably because I don't actually watch too much traditional sports anymore. I used to a lot, but traditional sports got very much about how much money does your club have, and that being the most important thing, as opposed to the actual skills of the team, the coaching staff, the players, and everything like that. So I kind of got over those things. I used to watch a lot of football. Nah. When I say football, I mean the football that the world knows, not the American version of it. Just so you know. As Americans call it soccer. Which is actually funny. I don't want to say that too loud because where I live, a lot of people call it soccer too. And we are on the other side of the world. But obviously our media is very heavily influenced by Hollywood and stuff like that. So a lot of that transfers over. And yeah, people here in my country call it soccer too. I call it a lot of other things as well, but soccer being the main one. It's only the real purists that call it football. But yeah, so I enjoy watching StarCraft as an esport. It's one of the esports that I really enjoy. And yeah, a couple of interesting things happened, like the GSL, the Super Tournament. I hope that you watched that game. If you didn't, I would say that I'm going to be casting it, but I can't. I would have loved to cast that finals. It was a pretty solid finals, and the winner, I spoke about him recently, very good player. So if you haven't seen that, go check out those games. They were pretty fun. I mean, again, it was a mirror matchup, so you might not agree with me, but I thought they were great. I missed a lot of the GSL Super Tournament, but I did see that one. Anyway, I'm rambling on because this game is looking very, very standard. A couple of workers going down. This Oracle is going to get out safely. There is a queen that's going to try to do something. Astrea's going to hover that around, let the shields recover. A couple of Zerglings just having a peek. Okay, third base is on the way. Scarlett knows exactly what is up. We see the traditional transition going into the Twilight Forge and then the Robo. Become a very common and standard build order for this matchup. And I'm wondering with all the changes if we're going to see less Stargate openers. I think that would be good. Because at this stage we see the Stargate opener, but like for this game, for example, it's literally only to make an Oracle or two, and then that's it. You might use it later on again. So it's, I mean, I guess the Oracle is very good for scouting and stuff like that, but I'm very interested to see if the meta changes to the point where we do not necessarily see Stargate openers in every game against Zerg. That's a very quick Templar Archives. Okay, so Astrea gonna opt for either Archons or High Templar, which I think are pretty good. That Oracle's actually gotten some good value. 5 kills, I think. Let's see. 2 kills, never mind. There must have been the second one, because the other one also got a couple. I don't know where it is. Huh. It's only got one. Oh well. War Prism on the way across. We see charge first this time. So no blink. Just straight into charge. And is this going to be an Archon drop? Oh, that's cool. We haven't seen Archon drops too much. Archon drops always very good. You can always get some value with them. And even when the drop is done and you can't get any more value, the Archons are very good in your standard army. So, yeah, I like this. I like the idea here. Scarlett at this stage playing very passively. She is just not defending. She's just macroing up at home, scouting around with the Zerglings, seeing if she can poke and prod in and get a little bit of damage done. This stage, nothing too major. Oh, this is more than just an Archon drop. This is Archon with some Zealots. Ooh, this is very dangerous. Scarlett, what does she have to defend this? A bunch of Zerglings. I think the lair is in danger. The lair could be going down here. This is not great for Scarlett. These Zealots being warped in with charge. That's very strong. And the Zerglings can't really engage because Archons just destroy Zerglings. Alright, we do see Roaches. Roaches are coming in. Good transfuses on the lair, so that's going to stay up. The Roaches are helping out. They're going to get rid of the Archons. The Zealots are slowly being gotten rid of. Another round of warp-ins. Astrea's going to carry on with this pressure. But at this stage, I think Scarlett is okay. She is getting some more Zerglings. She's even bringing the drones back. Yeah, I think she feels like she has defended this successfully. Astrea going to pick up the last Archon and the last Zealots and try to get some damage on the third. At this point, Scarlett defending quite comfortably on both sides. Storm is researching. So I don't think, yeah, there wasn't actually that much damage done in terms of the economy with this drop and warp in. So, you know, good defense from Scarlett there. I think very patient. She waited for roaches. She was just biding her time to get the roaches out, and I think that's really what made the difference. If she attacked too early, the Archons would just have shredded through the Zerglings. So yeah, excuse me. Fourth base on the way for Astrea, and we see Mutas. I didn't even see the Spire. Oh, very cool. Okay, so we're going to see a huge Muta transition. And with this Zealot heavy army, Scarlett's anti-air is going to be, well, is non-existent. He has 2 Archons. That is Scarlett's anti-air. This is going to do a lot of damage. So at this stage, it looks like it's just 12. You don't want to overcommit with it because obviously it's very easy for Astrea to switch into Phoenixes, and that's obviously not what you want. Oracle going in once again to deal some damage, getting some good stuff done. This Mutas are in, they're getting rid of some workers. There are going to be stalkers. Oh, Scarlett, be careful with your Mutas. Okay, they're going to bounce around to the next base, try to get some more damage done. They are getting a lot. That's 19 workers so far. Yeah, and this is going to be hard to deal with because, okay, Storm's going to help. But yeah, 21 workers so far. Scarlett doing the job with those Mutas. She's making a couple more on the back of this, and she is getting the flyer upgrades. At this stage, it's something that Astrea is going to have to keep in mind, is that the Mutas could at any stage fly in. Ooh, trying to get the High Templar. Yeah, they could at any stage fly in and just deal some damage. Although Scarlett is gathering her army, this could be a very strong push. Getting a sneaky little base here in the top right corner. She split her army in 2. So one is going to attack on this side. Okay, the Stasis Ward does get picked off. That's a lot of damage that got... Ooh, what's the Archon? Okay, I don't know where to look this. Engagements all over the show. Scarlett is flying around. At the same time, sorry, my camera is also moving in all directions. Roach, Ling, Bane army on this side. Mutas going in once again. They're going to get a little bit more damage done. This army is pushing on this side. Scarlett attacking on 3 different fronts. Will Astrea be able to defend at the same time? There is an attack in here. Mutas in the main. They've gotten rid of that entire worker line. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to pause there. We're carrying on there. This is so much damage done. The Mutas are still getting more damage done. That's 30 workers going down. This army is going to push into the 4th base again. Mutas still in the natural. There is roaches in the... what is this? 3rd base. Scarlett has dealt a huge blow to Astrea in this game. He is less than half of the workers. That's 50 workers going down. He is struggling. He's hanging in, trying to do his best. but I think he's just going to run out of gas. Scarlett did what she needed to do with that triple pronged harassment. That was a very good attack from Scarlett. And she still has a bunch of Mutas, so they can always go back in for more. Yeah, I don't know. Astrea's gonna struggle to get this one back. Scarlett is almost double his supply. And at this stage, Astrea's trying to make some more workers, but here comes the Mutas once again, picking off some more workers. That's all Scarlett needs to do at this point. It's just keep going in, keep doing a little bit. There's almost enough Mutas that she can engage. Yeah, Astrea is trying to keep his Stalkers close to the Archon because Stalkers can't really deal with those Mutalisks anymore, at least not in those numbers. High Templar are going to come in for some storms to help out, but again, the army here towards the south is going to push into the 4th base. Banelings going in, 10 more workers going down, Mutas in the 3rd, bunch of storms going, so the Mutas are taking a lot of damage. Ooh, those Mutas are so low. Scarlett, be careful with your Mutas. But the rest of the Zerg army is pushing in here. Good storm going down by Astrea. He is defending for his life. He has 0 economy left. 22 workers. Now, I think this is very close to finished. Scarlett, be careful with your Mutas. Ooh, another storm. She's actually just engaging into the Stalkers. Don't know how I feel about that. All the Mutalisks are going to go down. This base, in a desperate attempt, Astrea is trying to get rid of this base, but a huge Lingbane army coming through. Astrea can't do anymore, and Scarlett takes a series 2-1 in a very, very eventful series. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Like the video if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more StarCraft content. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.